Good morning, everyone. Welcome to an episode of Coffee Break with Card, La Hora del Cafecito sister show. My name is Lourdes Quinones, and I would like to welcome you to the show. So come on in, sign in the comment sections, and let us know if you're drinking a cup of coffee with us. We'd love to say hello to you. Coffee Break with Card is a program dedicated to all those in our community who are living with autism, to their family members, and to all those who support them. So again, join us at the table. Let us sign in the comment section so we can say hello this morning. Let us know if you're drinking a cup of coffee, tea, or water. Anyway, in today's program, we have the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Megan DeLeon Miller, who is a BCBA doctor, and she is the founder of Do Better Collective. This program aims to improve access to training and best practices in the field of behavior analysis. In partnership with CardUSF, Dr. DeLeon has created a free training modules and tools for families and for behavior ABA professionals to prevent and address the wandering and elopement issue. We will be discussing why this behavior is so important and is so challenging, and discussing some of the practical and effective strategies that can help us prevent and decrease elopement, and how caregivers and professionals can better collaborate to implement those strategies that they're going to acquire in the course. So join us, and because we have a lot to talk about. But before we get started, I'd like to say hi to Dr. DeLeon Miller. Good morning.
Hi.
Thank you for being with us and for accepting our invitation to come tell us about this important course. I'll also like to introduce to you our team members. Let's start out by introducing my colleagues, Jasmine Castellano and Olivia McDonald. Buenos dias.
Buenos días.
Buenos días. Good morning.
All righty. As you know, my name, as I mentioned, is Lourdes Quinones. I am a pediatric physical therapist as well as a special educator. And at CARD, my role is as the consultant for the early childhood groups. I am joined by my colleagues, again, Jasmine Castellano, whom you know is an excellent professional in the field of mental health. She's a CARD consultant assigned to the group of from middle school to young adults, and she's the mother of three, one of whom is diagnosed with autism. So welcome, Jasmine.
Thank you, Lourdes.
You also know that Olivia McDonald is an excellent professional in the field of public health. She is also a consultant here at CARD in the ages, my same age group, the early childhood team, and she's the mother of two beautiful babies who are toddlers now and just started school. so, so thank you and welcome, Olivia.
Thank you. I was actually mentioning this at the last time that Dr. Megan was our guest. It was actually the week that I went into labor with Alma. So.
Oh my God. Oh my God. All right. So it's they grow up fast, don't they? So so thank you. Welcome to the show
Thank you.
again, Dr. De Leon. So before we get started, we want to review the rules by which we want to adhere during this programming. As you know, we like to keep an open mind and use a positive attitude and use respectful language. And so before starting, Olivia, do we have anyone to say hi to at this time?
Yes, we do. We have Christine Rover, our colleague.
Hi,
Hi,
Christine.
Christine. We also have Lisa Bunn. I know this is also an area you're very passionate about. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, Lisa.
We also want to say good morning um, to Chris,
Hi,
Layla,
Chris.
and Karen. Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Karen. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So for those of you who are just joining in, we have the pleasure of interviewing Dr. Megan DeLeon Miller, who is a doctor in BCBA, and she's the founder of Do Better Collective, which aims to improve access to training and best practices in the field of behavior analysis. We know that in partnership with CardUSF, Dr. DeLeon created a free training modules and tools for families and behavior professionals to help prevent and address wandering and elopement. We will be discussing why this behavior can be so challenging and discussing some practical and effective strategies to prevent and decrease elopement, and how caregivers and professionals can better collaborate to implement these strategies. So join us because we have a lot of to cover. So good morning, Dr. DeLeon.
Good,
Again.
good morning. So
So
happy to
I'd
be
like to,
here.
yeah, so that's wonderful. I'd like to start by asking you if you can tell our audience a little bit about yourself and Do Better Collective program.
Sure. As we've discussed, I'm Dr. Megan DeLeon, and I'm a behavior analyst, educator, and founder of the Do Better Collective. I've worked in the field of behavior analysis and autism services for more than 20 years, which is crazy because I feel like I'm still in my 20s, so I don't know how that's possible, but most of my work is focused on helping practitioners translate what we know from research into things that are actually useful in our everyday practice. The Do Better Collective grew out of that same mission. So we provide continuing education, trainings, resources, and a professional community focused on helping behavior analysts and other professionals continue developing their practice. A really big part of my work focuses on helping people have a better understanding of neurodiversity affirming and person-centered approaches to behavior analysis. And I'm always really interested in how we can support safety and meaningful skill development while also respecting autonomy, communication, regulation, and the individual needs of the person we're supporting. And that's really the lens that I brought in to the creation of the Wandering and Elopement series.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And that's one of the things that I like most about you, Dr. De Leon, from the previous program. And this one is that the fact that you are constantly reminding and enforcing the importance of respecting that person, a child or teenager, whatever, and respect that person as a human being. So I love that. Why can elopement be such a challenging behavior for families and behavior therapists to address?
This is an excellent question, and obviously a big reason why we're here today. One of the biggest challenges with wandering and elopement is really how fast it can happen, and the safety risks can be significant. It's when a child or an adult wanders or elopes, you hear the word wandering and that sounds slow, but usually it's something that happens so quick, and the parents especially are really trying to keep their child safe, and then all of a sudden they're just gone. Another challenge is that elopement is really more just describing what happened. The person, is no longer in the safe space that they should be in, but it doesn't tell us why it happened. Two children can both run out the front door and be doing it for completely different reasons. One child may be trying to get to the pool because they love water. Another may be leaving because the environment has become overwhelming. Another might just want to go out and explore. Of course, those are just three of the reasons. Someone else may know exactly where they want to go, but not yet have a reliable way to communicate that they want to leave. So they just leave. And sometimes there are warning signs or patterns that we can identify. It's like knowing, if they start looking at the door a certain way, okay, they're about to, try to make their escape. Mm-hmm. But other times there's nothing, it just happens very quickly or quietly with no obvious precursor. So that's why I think we need to move beyond simply asking, how do we stop the elopement or wandering from happening, and really start exploring more deeply what is happening here. What might this person need? Where are the safety risks? And what can we change or teach that makes navigating the situation safer? And that's a big shift with the training series. There's, especially for the BCBA version, there's a really big focus on how do we address the proper variables and really get the right information to create programming that would be effective at helping to shift the elopement and wandering from occurring in the first place.
Okay. And one of the elopement related courses you've created is specifically for parents and caregivers. What information is covered in the course? And I guess part two of this question is, do families have to be working with a behavior therapist in order to take the course?
Another great set of questions. Thanks, Olivia. I'm going to start with the second question. The families do not have to be working with a behavior therapist to take the course. We know that not every family has access to a behavior analyst or another professional who would have specific expertise in wandering. So we wanted parents to leave with things they could begin thinking about and using themselves, while also understanding when they may need more individualized professional support. So the course obviously doesn't replace having the expertise of someone, but the parents could still take the course and start having some strategies in place while they're hopefully seeking out support from a professional. The series, the parent training one, focuses on just a little bit of understanding what wandering is, including some of the different reasons why it may happen and patterns that they can look for. And then a lot of time in the training is really spent around the safety aspect of it. So what are some environmental supports that could be put into place to help decrease the likelihood of wandering? What kind of supervision and monitoring might need to happen? Having an emergency plan, and why we want multiple layers of safety rather than just relying on one strategy. From there, we get into something that I think is especially important and often overlooked, which is creating predictability. It's really interesting because a lot of the research when I was working at Florida State with the Autism Institute there, the research that Dr. Amy Weatherby does is focused on this, like predictability and routines. And that same idea applies with this as well. If a child is frequently wanting to go outside, for example, how do we make access to outside more predictable? Can they see when it is happening? Do they have a way to ask? What happens when they ask and it isn't available yet? What does the routine look like when it's time to leave? If we can teach families how to start building those routines, how to have visuals, calendars, first then supports, having like ask first routines that they're putting into place, and then helping to build that communication. So we are really giving them a lot of tools that they could use with their children to make life more predictable. Families also with this course receive practical resources that they can use at home, including some safety planning tools, sample routines, visual supports, and guidance for working with their child's team. That was a really important thing that we discussed, Olivia, when planning the courses. Sometimes parents do have a behavior analyst, but the behavior analyst might not be working on elopement or wandering. So we wanted parents to have tools for how to have that conversation with whatever professionals they're working with as well. So as I mentioned, you don't need to already be or have behavior therapists to benefit from the course. There's a lot of really helpful information in there specific for parents.
Amazing. Thank you.
Lourdes? We can hear you, Lourdes. We can still not hear you.
It's doing that thing it was doing before.
It's doing what?
Now we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes.
Okay, I was saying, so sorry. We're having mic issues today. Sorry about that. I was saying that this is so relevant to the classroom, to the home setting, to grandma and grandpa's home. And it's so important to have that predictability. And another thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people don't understand the importance of having that predictability and using those visuals and those calendars to for everything, not just for this case, but and so it doesn't become a routine. I always say this: a routine doesn't become a routine until it continues to be a routine. So it can generalize from our everyday predictability of what's happening during the day, what's my schedule like, and so to include when do I get to go out the door. Which is what you're saying. So I love that about this program and what you've been able to put together in collaboration with CARD USF. So kudos to you for that. So my question to you going here is, there are elopement related courses you have created for the behavioral therapist in addition to the ones for the family. So can you discuss a little bit of what's included in those courses for the RBTs or ABA therapists who might be BCBAs who might be watching this show right now?
Sure. So we created two separate trainings. There's one for BCBAs and then one for the RBTs because they have very different responsibilities when it comes to wandering and elopement. The BCBA course goes much deeper into clinical decision making. We look at screening and assessment, different domains or reasons that wandering may occur, identifying the risk, selecting environmental supports, and moving from assessment into individualized programming. We also spend time on breaking the larger repertoires, the safety repertoires that come with, what we'd want to work on when wandering's happening, breaking those down into smaller skills that might need to be taught. Because obviously we can say they need to learn to stay safe in the community. That sounds great, but what does that actually mean instructionally? Does the person stop when asked? Do they wait? Do they walk with another person? Do they ask before leaving? Are they communicating where they want to go? Do they navigate being told that something is coming later? There's so many different skills that go into addressing wandering and elopement. The BCBA course includes a pretty extensive collection of tools for screening, assessment, program planning, even doing a composite analysis. So again, looking at what are the bigger skills and how do we break those down? There's a case application for practicing, looking at a case and seeing what you might do. And then also the family support and building predictable routines. I don't remember how many resources I made, but I think there's like 7 to 10 different packets in there for the BCBA course. So there's quite a bit. The RBT course is much more implementation focused. So we talk about what these programs actually look like during a session. How do we teach stop? Walk with me, ask first, waiting, requesting a break. How do we shape all of those skills? And then how do we practice them naturally instead of only running them in an artificial teaching situation? We also emphasize that if wandering is a significant safety concern and those programs are part of the treatment plan, that they need to be prioritized and practiced consistently. They shouldn't get skipped because they don't look like traditional table-based teaching. That's one of the things I used to run into when I was doing more direct clinical work. For whatever reason, a lot of the programs we would have in place focused on addressing wandering and elopement. I would come check the data and they hadn't been run. So that's obviously not helpful. We really want the RBTs to understand why these programs are important. And the RBTs, if they wanted to, could obviously take the BCBA training if they want to learn more. But we tried to make sure they would have what they need to understand their role, how to follow the programming and supervision provided by their BCBA. One thing I forgot to mention, the BCBA course is 2 hours. The parent course and the RBT course are each just 1 hour.
And which one would you recommend for educators?
That's a great question. Yes. Yeah. So for educators, I would say to start with the RBT one first, because it'll have a lot of the types of things that they might be wanting to work on in the classroom. Again, looking at those skills that might need to be taught. And then if they're wanting to go deeper to do the BCBA one, they could do the parent one too, but the BCBA one includes all of like the same resources as the parent one. So if they're wanting to just get like more access to how to assess and kind of think about the programming, if they're the ones, having to do that, then the BCBA one would be good. But I would start with RBT one.
Excellent. Thank you for answering that extra question.
Perfect. And Dr. DeLeon, so what advice will you have for a family who is trying to also collaborate with other members of a child's team, for example, like teachers, occupational therapists, to address elopement?
This is another wonderful question. I know it's something that families need to do all the time, even, regardless of what skills being taught. So I think one of the most helpful things that families and teams can do is share information across the settings. Wandering doesn't necessarily look the same at home versus the school or therapy out in the community. There's different, variables at play. So like there might be certain environments where it's not happening at all. They might say, I don't even know what you're talking about. But then in other environments, it might be happening quite a bit. So a teacher, for example, might notice that it happens during particular transitions. A parent might notice that their child is consistently trying to get outside at a particular time. An occupational therapist may notice sensory or regulation needs that are relevant. And the behavior analyst may be looking at patterns relating to what's happening before and after the wandering. All of these pieces of information become much more useful when we put them together. So I would encourage teams to get really concrete about the plan, the resources, especially that are in the BCBA version of the course, all of the screener and trying to get all the details. If everyone that's part of the child's team is interviewed and their information is put together, then we can better answer questions like, what are the early signs we're watching for? What environmental supports are being used? What skills are we teaching? What should someone do if the person begins moving away? What happens if the person actually leaves the designated area? And how are we going to communicate when something new happens? Of course, we don't want safety just living exclusively in one treatment plan. Everyone that's supporting the individual should understand their role and what types of skills are being worked on and how they could practice them based on their unique expertise. And I think, of course, families bring incredibly important information to that process because they know their child's preferences, communication, routines, history, and patterns that may not be visible in each of the different parts of the child's day. So the family kind of pulls everything together.
Great.
And I wanted to remind our audience, if elopement is an issue for you right now, I want to remind you that at CARD, we have tons of resources. This is one of them to help you address that issue. We have a safety kit that we can make accessible to those who are registered with us. So and the community. So please be sure to, if we can put the link for our resources so people can register for CARD, and also to let us know what your issues are so we can help you, so we can address some of those issues. So please, let's put that in there so they can access it. So thank you so much for all this information.
Yes. And Megan, if you could please also share that one-stop link again in the chat, and I'll go ahead and make sure that gets into the comment section too. But as we're kind of wrapping up, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
Yes, of course. There's so much we could talk about, right? But I definitely really want people to know that these trainings and resources are completely free. And then what Lourdes just said, please register with CARD and get access to the materials that they have as well. All of this, the whole series that we created, was made possible because of the CARD USF Autism Services Fund. So we're extremely grateful, especially not just to have the series, but this is an area I work on clinically, when I was working directly with families, but hadn't ever thought to make a training about it. So it was just wow, when Olivia came to me, I was, oh my gosh, why have we never made a training on this? So CARD recognized how important this issue is and provided the funding that allowed us to develop the separate trainings for parents and caregivers, RBTs, and behavior analysts, along with the practical resources that people can actually use. So I'm incredibly grateful that they were willing to invest in this work and help us make it accessible. Wandering and elopement are safety concerns that affect families, schools, clinicians, and communities. And we need more people who understand what to look for, more thoughtful prevention, better individualized support, and more intentional teaching of the skills that can help people navigate their environment safely. So whether you're a parent, behavior analyst, RBT, teacher, or other professional that's supporting autistic individuals, I hope you'll access the free series, and I hope you'll share it with the other people in your community who could benefit from it as well. As Olivia mentioned, the link to the series is being put into the comments. And again, just really want to thank CARD USF for making all of this possible.
Awesome, and thank you for being part of this process and being willing to create the course. And of course, I'd like to say thank you to Olivia and Christine Rover for their efforts, and our foundation donors for helping us. It is with their monies that we're able to support programs such as this one. So if we can share also the link to our foundation for those of you who would love to apport to this type of effort and donate some monies to our foundation so that we can continue to create programming such as this one, that it's free and accessible to the community. So thank you so much for you, Dr. DeLeon, and also for our own CARD staff who was involved in the creation of this, and those donors whose monies were put to good use. And this is an example of how we utilize those funds. So thank you so much. And for those of you who are watching, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them right there in the comment section so we can put you in contact with Dr. DeLeon, or we can answer your questions. Remember that if we create a program based on your comment or question, we would make sure to give you the kudos and recognize you on air for giving us that idea. So thank you so much for those of you who participate and create questions. We're almost at the end of the show, so I would like to ask Olivia. Did we lose Olivia? Or is she still
I'm here,
Are you
but
still
now
there?
it's first it was my microphone, now it's my camera. That's exciting.
Oh my God. It's technical
I'm still
issues
here though.
day. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. So do we have any comments or questions that we need to address before we move on? How's the show?
Um, let's see. Um, let's see the question. Um, one question was you had mentioned like the course is like an hour for the family and the RBT, and then 2 hours for the BCBA. But does that need to be done all at one time?
Oh, no, it doesn't need to be done all at one time. It can be, you can pause and come back to it. And then of course, like obviously the resources, you can look at that. You can even just sign up and just look at the resources if you don't feel like watching me talk for an hour or 2 hours or whatever. And the BCBA course includes CEs. So it's 2 ethics CEs are provided for the behavior analyst. And then for the RBTs, it's 1 RBT PDU, professional development unit.
Excellent.
Another question is if teachers are taking one of these courses, can that be used for continuing education for their needs?
I'm not super familiar with what the requirements are, but if there are any teachers that take it, they do get a certificate of completion. If there's any specific information that they would need, they can always email me. And if I need to create, a special certificate that addresses the needs that they would have, I would imagine it qualifies because it covers information that they would need. But I know every professional body has different requirements around like what the certificates need to say, or, so if our certificates don't meet those, they can just email me and I'll make sure they get one that does.
Okay.
So we can share your email address?
Yes. Yep. It's Megan@dobettercollective.us.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. And so how when we had a PEPSA, the Partnership for Effective Programs for Students with Autism, they would educators would receive a certificate, just like you mentioned, and it was upon the educator to bring it to their district to meet those qualifications. But like you said, if their districts are very specific on what kind of information, that's very generous of you to offer to create a certificate that sort of meets those guidelines. So thank you for your willingness to do that, and that information for providing this information so that educators can learn how this information that is so important, apply it, but also get a certificate so that they can obtain those CEs that they need for continuing education. So thank you again, Dr.
We
DeLeon, for being here, for all this
we
wonderful
we do have
information.
one.
This is beautiful.
Sorry, we do have one more quick question, which was,
Okay.
you had mentioned that all the courses are for the elopement series are free. Is that just for within the 14 counties that USF covers, or is it for a larger area?
It is for anyone. So
Yes.
anyone who joins can, or like signs up for it, can get it for free regardless of where they live.
Awesome, thank you.
Excellent. Oh, wonderful. So this brings you to the end of the program, but we didn't want to leave the programs again without thanking Dr. DeLeon, Christine Rover, and Olivia for bringing us this valuable information and making it accessible for the community at large. We just learned. So thank you so much. Thank you for being on the show. Okay. So I wanted to remind our audience that we come on the air the third Friday of each month. And if this information is valuable to you, this type of information and programming, we'd like to ask you a big favor, and that's that you please go ahead and give us a rating. This is the way that we can fund keep the lights on, I would say. It's accountability for our funders, and so even if you've done it before, every time we come on the air, we need this, because this is exactly how we keep the lights on. So thank you so much. So again, we are going to be bringing you other links in the chat if they haven't been posted yet, about our card, our foundation, our resources. So wonderful for being here. And this brings us to the end, but we don't want to leave without asking you to please give us a like, share this video on your page, share it with your teachers, your other parents that you may know who have children with or adults with autism who may be wondering or may be at risk of wondering. Share it on your pages, share it with other people. This is important information, especially because of these free resources. So thank you, and we'd love to remind you to please meet us here the third Friday of each month around 10:45-ish. It depends on whether we have technical difficulties like this morning with audio and video, but and also we come off from the Spanish version of the show, which is La Hora del Cafecito, and it starts out at 10 a.m. So be sure to be here and tell others about it. But until then, next time we're going to be on the air, it's going to be September 18th. So we hope to see you here, so we can share a cup of coffee with you, as well as spill the beans on important topics related to autism. But until then, we'd like to say goodbye and wish you good vibes and hot coffee. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Bye.